What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Brian with Mendez Mobile Detail, back at it again with another video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel down below, and like always, like and comment any questions, any concerns. Let's get into it. All right, so for this video, I wanted to make things a little different. I know we're used to being out there detailing. I know we're used to being out there, on the field, outdoors, enjoying the great hot sunny weather. But in this instance, we're, kind of in the house right now because we're getting rained on. It's raining and storming all week. So what better time than to work on some videos and help you guys become better versions of yourself. So let's jump into it. I want to talk about pricing structure, pricing plan, kind of to help you guys figure out what you should be charging. Now, this is going to be so different compared to where I'm at compared to where you are. It's always going to be different, but in this case, we're going to use where I'm at, and that is Richmond, Virginia. Now, when it comes to pricing, most detailers make the same mistake, and the same mistake that I made was that I started to copy the pricing from the next person over, right? So if Timmy down the street was charging 50, then I was charging 50. And then you doing that, you can start to run into a lot of problems, right? These problems you might not think about because you're not thinking, later on down the line. But with my experience and the mistakes that I've made, I can honestly tell you that it's not worth the pain and the headache. So the first thing that I did notice when I was charging what other people were charging was that I was feeling undervalued. I was feeling like I was overworked, and I didn't feel like I was getting paid what I was feeling like I was worth, right? Timmy was charging 50, so I was charging 50, and I'm feeling like I'm doing more than $50 work, and it just didn't, add up. So that's something that I, would highly recommend you to think about is, is your price gonna be something that you can live off of? Is it something that you feel comfortable with? Or is it something that you don't feel like you're gaining too much out of and the customer is getting, the bargain of the deal? So I would just look out for that, because that's something that I ran into when I was copying other people's pricing and stuff like that. Problem number two was that you might also, on the flip side, be overcharging, right? You might not be living up to their clients' expectations. So it's good to find that balance where you're first starting out. And in this video, I'm gonna help you guys do that. So don't get too scared. Don't click off the video. Keep watching. I'm gonna help you figure this out. I use Timmy was charging 50. Let's say Bobby. So now let's say we're copying Bobby's prices. Bobby has been in business for 5+ years. He has a lot of reviews. Bobby's just killing it, right? So now we choose to, copy and paste this business, and they're charging $250 for a detail, right? So now we're going from 50 a detail to $250 a detail. And then you doing so, you're gonna also increase your client's expectations. So if you're not increasing your skill sets, if you're not increasing your tools, getting better tools, better products, if you're not doing that along the way to that $250, $20 to $50 price tag, then your clients aren't gonna justify the result that you're getting them, because you're giving them $50 results, not $250. All right, so if you're struggling with this is a few ways that you can go ahead and start to make these adjustments to fix your pricing and better your lifestyle and better your life overall. Now, the first thing that we want to take to account is you setting a goal, right? We need to set a specific goal for the year, month, week, day, right? We're gonna go ahead and break that down for you guys here, because I want to make it super specific and super easy for you to understand. So we're gonna get into that in a little bit, but I want you guys to understand, right? You need to set a goal. You need to figure out what your monthly expenses are. What do you want to make? What do you need to survive? What are your monthly? Do you pay rent? Do you have a car? Do you need gas? Do you have insurance? You need to add all of that up, right? And see how much you're paying per month already, so that way you can see the minimum amount that you have to make per month in order to achieve your goal for the year. This may vary, person to person. You might not have any expenses, so you might be in a better position than the next person, but it's still, you need to still take into account, because there still will be business expenses that you will need to track, such as supplies, towels, chemicals, vacuums, tools, products. You're always going to expend money and reinvest your money into the business. So it's important that you track everything, so that way when you set a goal, you can say, okay, well, this is for the business and this is for me. Now, the second thing that I want you guys to go ahead and incorporate into your business is to multiply whatever number you gave for your goal on the first one, multiply that number by 3, because you're capable of so much more, right? So if you say, for example, I remember when I first started, I wanted to make 10,000, 20,000. I wanted to increase my business 1,000 or 10,000 at a time, but that's not realistic. You can do so much more in, half the time frame that you might think. So you want to make sure that you're setting a goal, but also once you set that goal, for example, if your goal was to make 2,000 a month, now instead of making 2,000 a month, you're increasing that times 3. So now you're making 6,000, and now 6,000 per month is your goal. Because I promise you guys, once you start getting out there and you start doing the work, the website SEO, you start bringing in leads and clients, you're gonna find it super easy to start hitting your goals. If you have your business, structured and running properly, you will start to see $6,000 a week, $6,000 days. Like it can be unlimited to how much you can make, and as long as you price your services correctly and you structure your business in a very smooth manner for clients to book and do everything that they need to in your business. All right, so the third thing I want to go ahead and tell you guys is to go ahead and write down this right here, this example, right? So the example that I like to use is 10,000 a year, right? So let's say we want to make $10,000 a year. If we use 10,000, now we divide that by 12 because there's 12 months in a year. That leaves us with $833 per month, right? Now that we have that per month, we can divide that number by 4, right? I hope you're still with me. So we're gonna use $10,000 for the year, right? Divide that by 12. So every month, we're gonna get a number for it. So if we do 833 times 12, we should get 10,000, right? So now that we have 833 per month, we're gonna use that number and divide it by 4 weeks, right? That's gonna give us a weekly total on how much we are projected to expect to make if we want to achieve our goal of 10,000, right? And you can, scale this up. You can do 100,000, you can do 1,000,000, you can do 300,000, you can do 500,000. But if for this, this case, this scenario, I wanted to keep it very basic and keep the numbers very simple and easy to understand. So if we divide that 833 divided by 4, it's gonna be $208 per week. Now, tell me what sounds better for you, $10,000 or $200 per week? What sounds more obtainable? What sounds more realistic, right? Now, this is why I want you guys to start thinking about, because you don't think like this. You're gonna think like, it's good to think big, but you gotta kind of micro or reverse engineer it down so that way you can understand exactly what your targets are. Now, if I break it down to you like that, where I'm like, hey, you need to make $200 per week, you're like, whoa, that's nothing, man. That's one detail. And that's why I'm telling you guys that making more than $10,000 a year is not that difficult once you think about it. $10,000 a year is like one car a day, basically, if you think about it, right? Because 200 bucks, I'm not even getting into it, but you guys get it, right? It's not that impossible, not that hard to hit that goal. So just kind of get you guys thinking, the perspective, and kind of, running the numbers and how you can start to break it down to make it more achievable, more obtainable, and motivate you a little bit more, as opposed to just thinking of a big piece of cake. Try to just cut a little piece of the cake at a time, and you're gonna end up eating that whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my philosophy.